Hello YouTube, a video that isn't a short. I'm as surprised as you are. But I figured that my grandmother would appreciate me actually explaining what I'm doing in my training instead of just sending her random videos with zero context. So here we are. For those of you who don't know, my name is Andrew Lunglar. I'm an amateur strength athlete out of Manitoba. I have about 10 years under my belt as a competitive powerlifter, and after about 8 of those years being bullied by some friends, I'm finally going to give Strongman a try this year. Biggest contest we're looking at is Western Canada's Strongest Man, July 1st in Duncan, British Columbia. That one is going to be the most high stress, high stakes for me. So that's what we're designing our prep around for the season. I am going to do a couple of local shows just to pay my dues and get some competition experience under my belt. We're going to be doing Battle at the Border in Tolstoy, Manitoba. And we're going to be doing Manitoba Strongest Man in Morris, about 3.5 weeks out from Westerns, which Coach and I talked about. We think that with the heavy yoke in that event and the heavy circus dumbbell, it should work good as a nice heavy test day, and then we can taper down into Westerns appropriately, treating it like we would a powerlifting meet. So looking forward to that, but we're about 10.5 weeks out right now from Westerns at the time of filming this. And we're just going to start looking at the week in review, see how the training looked, and kind of keep myself accountable to all of you good people, all 19 of you. Hopefully more join soon. Day one, we were doing the log clean and press. We're only doing one clean on these sets. So we're doing 5 sets of 2 at 255 pounds. The reason we're only doing the one clean is because a good friend of mine, Gord Grimmelson, has told me that my clean is very efficient. I have no problem. I cleaned the 320-pound log at the charity log competition. Didn't hit that press, but the clean was pretty effortless. So I'm really not too worried about that aspect of it. But if we can manage my fatigue levels and get more time pressing and less time cleaning, then that should transition over better as the prep progresses into getting a couple of reps on that 320-pound log come competition day. So I did take 2 sets of 265 pounds that day. I got my new Evolution Extreme wraps with the cinch down straps. They're much more supportive than my old SBD sleeves that I've had for probably about 5 or 6 years now. They're a thicker neoprene all the way around, whereas the SBD elbow sleeves are only a 5 mil on the inside and a 7 millimeter on the outside. I found them more supportive, and they're a little bit tighter where I can't get them on myself. Thankfully, I'm allowed a handler, so I do have someone to assist me getting into those sleeves. Then we moved on to Z-Press. Well, Zydrunas is probably my favorite strongman. However, I hate him for this movement. It is painful and terrible, and you can't cheat. It is just separates the men from the boys. That said, supposed to work up to a set of 5. We've had this in for a couple weeks now, just working, trying to ramp that up. I hit a clean set of 5 at 185, went up to 195, and as anyone who's trained strict overhead pressing knows, there's a very, very slim jump that you can make. So I got stapled with that, made a pretty funny face during the video. I'll put that in here somewhere for your enjoyment, and then hit 3. So I'm not too mad about that. A little bit of an overreach, but we didn't fail. I kind of cut it at 3 and then dropped it back down to 185 for my last set of 5. The rest of that day went pretty smoothly. A little bit of accessory work, some bodybuilding, a little bit of conditioning. I've been doing some cardio in the mornings just to, keep the heart healthy. My body weight's up a little bit. We'll touch on that more later. Day 2, we started off with safety squat bar for 5 sets of 3. At 525, I forgot that the bar was heavier and misloaded, so I did 545, 5 sets of 3. Thankfully, I didn't throw too much additional fatigue in. Pretty sure it's a volume PR for me, so I'm quite content with that. And it seems to have carried over well into the rest of the week. We then moved on to some deadlifts. We did 5 sets of 2 at 545. That was absolutely flying. Right now, we've been deadlifting twice a week, which is very new for me. And traditionally, we have had a lot of fatigue from deadlifts. I'm definitely fatigued, but I'm not to the point where I'm week, and it's actually been trending very, very well. So I took my last 2 sets there at 585. Not something I would traditionally do, but with how in tune I feel with my body right now and how strong I feel, I'm going to take what I can get when it's there. And if I feel like I need to back off, I can back off a little bit. But the amount of weight that's going to be at the show, I am pushing this prep to the absolute limit. So you might see me take a couple of sets a little higher than prescribed. That's just me going off of my own experience in auto-regulation, and my coach understands that, and we've had that conversation. We then moved on to a Zercher pick to start. My understanding at Westerns is that they're basing the Zercher pick off of the shortest competitor, who, from my understanding, is about 5'7", is what I've been told. So I found the closest person I could find who was 5'7" in the gym, and set the yoke to how they would hold it, and then we're going to hopefully be okay there. Managed to hit comp weight this week, which was great. Our yoke at my gym is a little bit narrower than the competition one. It's Bell's a steel yoke. I think it's about 2.3 inch diameter on the crossmember. I believe that we are using a Rogue yoke at the competition with a 3-inch diameter crossmember. So I'll have to get a couple of reps in on another yoke that has a larger diameter, or maybe I just get some pool noodles or something, wrap it around just to make sure that I'm getting used to a thicker carry. It seems like you're kind of able to rest it on your stomach a little bit if you lean your hips through. So just playing around with that, different belt positions, trying to create more of a gut with the belt that I can rest on and hopefully make that event a little bit easier once I start moving. Day 3, back to the log clean and press. Again, 1 clean, then hit the presses. We hit 2 sets of 3 at 255. And then 3 sets of 2 at 275. The first 2 sets at 275 absolutely flew, so I did call an audible again here and take 1 set at 285. Then moved on to what I'm calling right now a pseudo circus dumbbell. We are looking at purchasing one for the gym. Unfortunately, there's a couple places that we were looking that are out of stock, but Devin Penner at Training Grounds Gym is having a batch made up for the upcoming competition. So we are looking at getting one of those once that batch comes in. Until then, the heaviest dumbbell we have that is functional for being dropped is the 110-pound dumbbell. The 120 is just a little bit loose, and I'm a little bit concerned about chucking that one all over the place. So hit that for 3 fairly easy sets of 6. Just really working on that drive and drop. So hoping that's going to carry over well into the log. Pressing is pressing to a certain extent, and I'm looking forward to seeing some good gains on that. Day 4, our final day, we walked into some deadlifts. So, like I said, we're doing deadlifts twice a week. It's not too fatiguing yet. We're getting there. We did 3 sets of 3 off of a 2-inch deficit with 545 pounds. And we did 5 sets of 2 at 585 pounds. Again, this is moving very well. I have a fairly low-key weekend here where I can recover. So I did take 2 sets at 635 pounds just because the weight was absolutely flying and it wasn't anything painful. That's 635 pounds. Again, it flew. I have done volume heavier than that. I went a little bit off program because I couldn't find blocks once, and I did pull 655 for 5 sets 2, and then hit a single at 716 after that. Very, very happy with how deadlift feels right now, if I'm being honest. I very genuinely believe that I'm about a 6-week taper away from an 800 pull. So we're going to be looking to pull at least that at Westerns, goal being to make it through to the finals and get a crack at that rising bar on the elephant. We then moved on to the yoke walk. Again, a technical movement I haven't done a whole lot of. Just trying to get some speed, figure out the technique. So I loaded the yoke up to 575 pounds and then did 3 sets of 100 feet, which is about 90% of our turf, with the drop to turn. Didn't go great, I'll be totally honest. I'm a little bit worried about this event now, so I'm going to be getting a couple of sessions in with Devin Penner, and hopefully I'll get down to Iron Age there and work with Tyler and Dan a little bit, and hopefully pick up a couple of tips. I think the speed is there. It's just getting the technique down. I'm not very well balanced with it, and I haven't quite found my back position. So once I have that sorted out, I'm pretty confident that'll be a good event for me. I just need to understand the technique behind it. And this morning, I went out to my buddy Gord's place and we threw some sandbags. Just for fun. It's not an event coming up. It's just an event that, well, it was the first Strongman event I tried, actually. Devin took us throwing after the Manitoba Keystone Invitational a couple months ago, and the 60-pound bag over 15 just kept hitting the bar, and it was very frustrating. So I was able to hit that today and get some redemption, which after all of this training, I'm quite happy with. Again, feeling pretty good, pretty recovered. I've been sleeping really well. eating really well. Everything feels very, very good. That said, body weight is up to about 320 to 325 pounds in the morning, which is a little strange, but my body has just been screaming for more calories. So I kind of just had to give up fighting it and accept that. I was not recovering well. My shoulders have grown 1.5 inches since February, which is problematic for the suit I had fitted for the wedding I mentioned. But that's a problem for later. Right now I'm content. Shoulders are growing, triceps are growing, press is growing, and I think my body weight is kind of stabilized around here. We'll see if that continues as training ramps up and becomes even more intense and demanding. My sessions right now are taking about 2.5 hours. So it's a long session. I'm taking a fair amount of intra-workout carbs. I got a supplement I get from Raw, as well as Welch fruit snacks and Rice Krispies seem to be the go-to things that I found that I like. So that will be something that I just have to monitor. If I have to gain another 10 pounds and walk into Westerns around 330, 335, I'm not mad at it. I just don't want to get to a point where I'm too heavy and my sleep and athleticism are impacted. Right now I can still move very well. I can still move very fast and be quite agile. I don't want to lose that at the expense of just getting bigger for the sake of getting bigger. That said, other than that, sleep's been fantastic. I've been going for more manual treatment, trying to get a lot of heat exposure, soaking in the tub as best as I can. I'm a 6'6", 320-pound guy. I don't really fit in a bathtub all that well, and unfortunately there's not a hot tub near me that I can access easily. But he's building a sauna, so hopefully once that's up and running, I can hit a couple sauna sessions on the weekends to help with some of that relaxation. But just really trying to mitigate stress and do everything I can to make sure that that sleep is top-notch. So that was week 1. We have, at the time of filming this, about 10.5 weeks left, or 10 weeks left to Westerns. So nerves are high. Obviously, there's a lot of deserving guys in the local circuit, and I can't help but feel sometimes like I've jumped the line a little bit. I actually registered for this show and was accepted for this show before I'd competed ever. So clearly whoever runs this show thinks I'm strong enough to be there among the amateurs, but there is that imposter syndrome where I go, there's so many guys who've been doing this longer than I have on the local scene. I can't go and zero anything. So the goal is to make it to the finals, and once I'm in the finals, we'll see what I can do there. There's a lot of really strong guys here. I'm in no expectation looking to make the podium. There's a lot of pro strongman. There's a pro-am. But if I can make the finals and throw my hat in the mix for middle tier, I'd be content with that. So stay tuned. If you'd like, please like, share, comment, subscribe, all those things that the YouTube vloggers say. We're looking to get some more content in and hopefully some more vlog style stuff, and just show you guys how this prep's going to go. So appreciate you tuning in. See you next week.